Well, good Friday evening to you. Chris Hare here, the world champion crypto cowboy, bringing you a nightly update on Bitcoin. And what a day it's been. Talked about it earlier in the previous video. It was up, it was down. There was things that happened. Unemployment was good, manufacturing was good, but we've still got the Supreme Court ruling looming over us. It's supposed to be bearish. I talked all about it in a video earlier. You can go find that on my page. We're going to get into it, figure out exactly what's happening tonight. Are we going up? Are we going down? It's kind of in the middle. We're going to figure it out, though. We're going to get all the way to the bottom of it, starting with an hourly chart, work out to that weekly chart. So I'll give you some targets for over the weekend. Then we'll get into that longer range to figure out maybe where we're going. But we'll start off tonight with the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, currently at a 26. We've came down a little bit more. But I use this to measure market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared or if they're greedy. Right now, people are scared. Obviously, we've been pulling back, so that's no surprise. But I use this to make small spot purchases. When we drop into fear, I buy a little bit. When we drop into extreme fear, I buy a little more. And I'll probably go ahead and buy a little more since we're back down in fear. And then I hold it, sit on it, forget about it. When we get into fear, to get into greed or extreme greed, I sell it off and sell it out. It's worked well for me, and I've got about $500 invested in BTCC. It's not working tonight, but we've been in profit. But we'll move on out to that liquidation heat map. We'll start with the macro chart just to give you a better idea of what's going on the big picture. This is what market makers use to track your liquidity. That's why it's so relevant. They don't use a lot of TA. They just move the charts by tracking your short and long liquidation point. Everything above price action is a short trade. Everything below price action is a long trade. And you can see right now, cumulatively, we've got about $10.87 billion worth of shorts on the books compared to about $5.5 billion worth of longs. So the imbalance is still to the upside, but we've got longs piling in since we've been going up. Now you've got shorts piling in because things are going down. The weekly heat map is just an absolute hot mess. You've got liquidity both ways, and it's a weekend, so they're probably going to just bounce in between and just try to make a mess of things all weekend. We'll probably won't get clarity until Monday. Cumulatively, though, you've got about $1.95 billion worth of long or short trades, and you've got about $1.18 billion worth of long trades. So the imbalance is clearly to the upside. The liquidity is not quite as heavy down here, so maybe we're thinking about moving up. We'll figure that out, but I want to show you if you want to trade and you really want to spot invest, Glowfin has a great deal right now. You'll find a link to that in my description. The first 300 registered users get a $10 voucher just for signing up, and each new user gets VIP 1 for 30 days. And then there's a big futures bonus going on. You can pause the video, read into that, but we'll go ahead and get into the charts now. Go ahead and check that out. It's in my description. Looking at Bitcoin on the hourly, I post all these charts in the Crypto School. That link will also be in my description. I post signals there. We're long on quite a few things right now, doing pretty good. We've got a couple of the altcoins that are kind of shaky at the moment, but I think they're going to work out the way they're supposed to. Looking at the Bitcoin on the 1 hour. I love trend lines, guys. They tell a story and they're worth paying attention to. It's probably the most simple tool in your box, but probably the most valuable. I drew a trend from where we bottomed out on Thursday, right here at about 89,253. Since then, we've touched it 3 times. That makes a trend. So I think we're starting to work on moving up. Right now, we lost the 50 simple moving average, but we've came down, found support on the 4-hour 50 smooth moving average, and are working our way up. What we need to do is get above this, working and up higher into this golden zone, and we need to break out of 92,419. From there, I think you can think about higher targets of about 97,000 to 100,000. I'm not real optimistic that we drop below this trend. If we do, I think you come on down to the macro trend that we've been following. If you lose the daily 50 simple moving average at about 89.1, your next line of support is about 88.8. From there, I get concerned that we're going to come down and test this weekly 50, and if we haven't, and we may lose it at that point. So that's kind of where we are. I still feel like the move is up. We've completed a 5-wave move down. Hopefully this isn't some kind of consolidative corrective, but it really feels like it wants to go up. Moving out to the 4-hour, you'll really see why I think what I think. We've respected that macro trend, and as we get out to the daily and the weekly charts, you'll start to see where it takes us. Found support again on the 50 smooth moving average. We've came down. We lost the 50, retested that 50 smooth moving average, and now we're working our way up. Get above it. We're headed to about 91,705. Your 200 smooth moving average sits at about 93.3. That's going to be resistance. There's bigger resistance here at about 96.2, and that gets us to 98,103. If we lose, like I said, if we start losing these trends, things are going to get ugly. Just so we have that in the back of our head, if we start losing these things, guys, this macro trend is going to tell us everything. If we lose that, then I think we're in a bear market. 85.9 to 83.6 is going to be your first stop, but then I think you head down towards about $50,000. Moving out to the daily chart, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This trend gets bigger, and it's made a pennant. Market makers like to fill out about 80% of these pennants. The daily golden zone sits 108 to 116. We're working our way up there. I think our biggest resistance we've got to get over right for the here and now is right around $96,000, $97,000. If we reject from there and start losing these moving averages, I'm going to be concerned. But if we can, even if we reject, come down and test this trend again, move up 108 to 116s on the cards, then I have questions. Do we set in a lower high? And this is the end of the bull market, and then we go on down to that $50,000 target? Or do we find some kind of support again on this trend? And then 138 to 154 is in the cards. You can see what I'm talking about. That trend and that pennant looks a little better on the weekly chart. We just kept bouncing off of this thing for about 6 weeks. 7 weeks, we finally pushed off of it. And now we're just kind of doing a retest, I think. If we lose it, if we lose this 50 smooth moving average, I think $50,000 is definitely on the table. But I still feel like we're going to work up in this pennant. If we can get up over $97,000, 105 to 114 is going to be your first stop. If we can break out of this, and this pennant seems to think that we can, 139 to 156 is on the table. If we lose this, then I'm thinking about lower targets because we're going to start losing these supports that we've worked so hard to reclaim. That's kind of where I am on Bitcoin. It's kind of a mess over the weekend, but it's going to kind of give us some clarity next week. I think the Supreme Court ruling comes out on Wednesday, so I just kind of think it's going to be volatile and probably a lot of sideways action for a little bit. But we may rock it off. Who knows? It's so manipulated. We just got to follow that liquidation heat map and figure out what they're thinking. But I'm going to wrap it up with that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tap that bell notification. You'll get a notification as soon as we drop a video, and leave us a comment. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and I really want to hear what you guys think about my thesis here. But I'm going to wrap it up from here. Chris Hare, the world champion crypto cowboy, got you XRP, Solana, Ethereum all coming out tomorrow, and I found a new indicator, and I'm going to show you guys tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. Thanks so much for watching. Chris Hare. See you down the road.